What are we eating this week? That video starts right now. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Vicki and you're with Grammy in the kitchen. So the first meal we're going to have this week is going to be pizza and breadsticks. If you saw the video this past Tuesday when we were just doing the things that need to be done, we made pizzas to go into the freezer. We kept 2 of those pizza doughs so we can have dinner tonight, and we're going to make pizzas and breadsticks. So here's 2 homemade pizza doughs. Three cups of room temperature water and 4 teaspoons of dry active yeast, a 1/4 cup of sugar. Then I added a 1/4 cup of olive oil, 8 cups of all-purpose flour, and 4 teaspoons of salt. I'll let that mix in the stand mixer until a nice dough ball formed. I divide it into 6, put them in an oiled Ziploc bag, put them in the refrigerator, and let them rise overnight. I have 2 12-inch cast iron skillets in the oven, warming up to 400 degrees. It helps to have a hot skillet when you're making pizza in a cast iron skillet. Okay, perfect. Here's 1 very hot cast iron skillet. Put a drizzle of avocado oil. And I have polenta. You can use cornmeal, but I put just a sprinkle on the bottom. That helps from the dough sitting on the bottom of our pan. Take our pizza dough, plop it right in here. Push it all the way to the edge. Now this pizza we're going to have for dinner. So I'm going to go ahead and put the full amount of sauce on this one, because I usually go half sauce first and then additional sauce before I put it in the freezer. But this is dinner. Nice good amount of pizza sauce. And I'm going to go ahead and put cheese on this one. Husband, yeah. Would you like to have some breadsticks? Yeah. Okay, then I'll make a breadstick. Do you want cheesy breadsticks? Okay, perfect. All right, so the husband says we're going to have breadsticks also. So we'll just do breadsticks on this one. So for breadsticks, I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. Give that a little swish, swish. And I have some garlic powder. Maybe 1/4 teaspoon. Just a pinch of black pepper. I'm going to add just a little bit of mozzarella on this one. And I have a little bit of Parmesan cheese that was in the refrigerator. Perfect. And now I'm going to put this in the oven. The breadsticks are ready. I'm going to go ahead and take those out. Let's go ahead and cut it up into breadsticks. We'll cut it in half and then cut them up into little strips. Now we just gotta wait on the pizza. We'll take a little bit of this sauce for dipping sauce. Just gonna put that in the microwave for about 30 seconds. And that's it. Same pizza sauce we're using for the pizza, we're going to use as a dipping sauce for the breadsticks. And now the pizza's ready. So the husband and I are going to sit down and have dinner. Can't wait to bring you back in the kitchen and we'll make something else really, really good. We're going to cook dinner. We're going to make pork chop schnitzels and rice. If you've been around a while, you know I'm out of chicken broth, completely out. You know what? Hold up. Start over, family. So I have 1 cup of jasmine rice. I'm going to add a pinch of pepper and a good pinch of salt. I have some pork broth. I am out of chicken broth and I need to make some, but it's a matter of time. I'm going to put 1/4 of pork broth and a cup of water. I'm going to put a lid on it, put it on the stove, let it come to a boil. I'm going to reduce the flame and let it simmer for about 20 minutes. And in this cast iron skillet, I'm going to go ahead and have some coconut oil melting so we can fry up our schnitzel. That's probably going to take about 5 minutes for that to melt and heat up, which will be the perfect amount of time to get the pork chops ready. So already we've got our rice cooking and we've got some fat melting in a pot for the schnitzels. Now as for the schnitzels, I have 2 and a small piece of pork chops. We need to pound these really thin. I have the meat mallet and the pork chops are in between a folded piece of plastic wrap just to contain the splatter. And I want them really thin. Now this is the seasoned breadcrumbs we used last week when we baked the pork chops. Took it out of the freezer. We're going to reuse this. And if I need to add more to it, it's not going to be a problem. But I'm hoping this is going to be enough. So it has garlic powder, onion powder, and red pepper flakes. Now what are we going to do different? Let me go wash my hands. So I have some homemade Dijon mustard. You can use store-bought if you like. I'm going to put about 1/4 cup in this bowl. I'm going to paint some Dijon mustard on the pork chops, put it in flour, and then our breadcrumbs, and then we could put it in that hot oil. So I have a paintbrush. Just a thin layer. I'm going to put the mustard side down into the flour, and this is an unseasoned all-purpose flour because we have spices in here and we have spices in our breadcrumbs. And I want to paint the other side with some Dijon mustard. You know what? I need an egg wash. I just remembered. Okay, the rice is to a boil. I'm going to reduce the heat just a bit just so it can simmer. So I add a little bit of water to our eggs. I'm going to add a pinch of salt. Perfect. Now we can take our floured and mustard pork chops, put it in that egg wash, and then put it in the breadcrumbs. And now we're just going to repeat it. So that's the mustard side going down in the flour. Into the egg wash. And the breadcrumbs. And we didn't need any more. That's perfect. Might as well just use it all. All right, let me clean up my station, wash my hands. Unfortunately, that mustard is going to go into the trash. So I have a drop of water on my fingers. That poppy noise lets us know the oil is ready. Go ahead and put in our schnitzels. And we're going to cook it at between 5 and 10 minutes on each side, and it should be ready. I have the temperature between medium and low, but closer to the medium, so it's more of a medium low. I can actually smell the mustard. Let's give them a flip. Oh, look at that beautiful color. Oh, that's gorgeous. I'm going to cook it for another 5 to 10 minutes on that side. It's probably been about 5 minutes. Give it another flip. I feel like this side is getting hotter than this side. I need to check the liquid level to the rice. Not quite ready yet. All the liquid has gotten absorbed, but the rice is not done. So I'm adding another cup of water. And I'm going to let that continue to cook. Losing breading, it's not a good thing. Pork chop needs to be 145 or higher. We are cooking with eggs, so it actually needs to be 160 degrees or higher. That one is reading over 200, so we can take that one out. That was the little one. And we're going to let these continue to cook until they get a nice golden brown. Probably less than 10 minutes, family, and dinner will be ready. Just waiting on the rice to absorb all that water, pork chops or schnitzels to get done. I'm going to leave the top off of the rice. That way that water can evaporate. And I don't know if I mentioned it, that's actually jasmine rice. My family, I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's just the husband and I only like cooking enough to where I know we can eat in a day or two, no more than 3 days. So when I make a meal, it's usually a starch or some sort of vegetable and a protein. I don't have starch, vegetable, and a protein. The husband's not a big fan of a lot of vegetables, so I just don't even bother cooking them because I don't want to waste food. So I cook what I know the husband and I will eat and enjoy eating for 2 to 3 days max. That's why when I'm cooking, you don't see a lot of broccoli and asparagus. I love those things. The husband doesn't. So I'm not going to cook it and let it go to waste. I'd rather cook what I know we can eat and there's no waste. Turn the burner down under the rice because it's starting to stick to the bottom and I don't want it to burn. And I think the rest of the schnitzels are done. Going in on the side to make sure we get a lot of the meat on the probe of the thermometer. And we're done. Burner off. And I have a plate lined with some paper towels. And I want to wick off some of that grease so we're not having greasy pork chops. I think the rice is good. And the time it took to cook a cup of rice, we were able to get our pork chops ready with that Dijon mustard, flour, egg, and breadcrumbs, and fry them. Dinner is ready. That was pretty fast. We're not ready to sit down and eat yet, but I do want to sample this pork chop or this schnitzel with you. And a little bit of rice with that pork broth that we made together. Let's try a piece of pork schnitzels. There is a hint of the vinegar from that mustard. That's actually pretty good. And some rice, simple rice. A cup of jasmine rice, 2 cups of broth, we're using pork broth, cups of water, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper. Perfectly seasoned. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and finish this plate of my appetizer of my dinner, and then when the husband gets home, we'll make a plate and we'll sit down and have dinner. Tomorrow, I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll do it together. And as for the coconut oil that I cooked the pork chops in, we're going to strain it through a coffee filter, save it, and we can use it again. I'll see you tomorrow, family. I love simple meals. So the next meal we're going to make is the rib roast we took out of the freezer the other day. I had it in the refrigerator up until this morning. I took it out of the refrigerator. It's been sitting on the counter for about 2 hours, and it's still a little frozen, but we're going to work with it. I'm going to cook this in the Instant Pot with some onions. Still don't have any chicken broth, so I'm going to make a better than bouillon vegetable base. It's a seasoned vegetable base. We're going to make a broth with that, and I am going to add a little bit of our jalapeno hot sauce, just a little bit, just to add some heat. The only other thing we're going to do is I have 2 quart-sized jars of home canned potatoes. I did these back in 2021. I have some whole garlic and vegetable broth, and I just canned it so they're seasoned. I think I put some Italian season in here, or some sort of a seasoning. I don't remember. It was way before I invited y'all into my kitchen. And we're just going to drain the juice. Oh, we're going to use the juice from that. Change of plans. We don't need to make broth. We have vegetable broth in here because I don't want to boil them. I just want to toast them in the oven. So we don't need this. Put that away. I took a pack of frozen corn. When I can find corn on sale in my area, and at the time it was $4, I bought 16 ears of corn. I blanched them in some hot water for about 10 minutes, put them in cold water to stop the cooking process. Once they cooled off, I removed all the kernels from those cobs, and I put them in quart-sized Ziploc bags, about 8 ounces. So we're going to have that for dinner. But before we start working on our roast, let's get an onion ready to go into the Instant Pot right there. I'm only going to use half of this onion. The other half we'll save for another meal later this week. If I don't get to it, we can always chop it up and stick it in the freezer. That is it for the onions. How simple. I'm going to save the broth. Oh, I'll take the garlic too. So we're not ready for the potatoes. I'm going to set that aside. Here's the broth we're going to be using. Onions go into the refrigerator. And here's our rib roast from a local farmer. Oh, that looks pretty. You know, it's like, oh, what is it called? If I can think of the name of this roast, I'll put it right there in the bottom of this screen. That is beautiful. Oh, I'm excited. All right, I'm gonna pat it dry. Oh, this will make beautiful steaks. Okay, we've already committed. Let's just go with it. I'm just gonna season it with a little bit of salt and pepper all over. We're gonna go a little heavy on the salt and pepper family. All right, that looks good. We'll massage it in really well. Make sure we sop up any seasoning we dropped on our board. All right, let me go wash my hands, and we're gonna move over to the Instant Pot. I am so sorry, family, but we're stuck in the corner where the microwave and the coffee pot and the toaster oven. It's dark over here, but we're gonna work with it. So I have the Instant Pot. I have it on the saute. I want this to warm up really, really hot. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil. I want that to get nice and warm until that oil starts shimmering and release just a little bit of smoke. Let's go ahead and put in the beef, and we're gonna brown it on all sides. I'm gonna give it about 2 or 3 minutes on each side to make sure we're browning it really well. Now I have that fat cap on the bottom of the Instant Pot. I want to cook that just a little bit longer. Try to render off as much flavor from this beef using that fat cap as our flavoring. So probably going to leave it right there for about 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and remove the beef for the moment. Can you see that sear? Oh, that's beautiful. I'm going to add the half onion. Now we're going to use any kind of liquid that comes from those onions to scrape up those bits at the bottom, because we want to incorporate that into the flavor of our beef, because you can't have burnt bits at the bottom of your Instant Pot when you're starting to use it as an Instant Pot. A warning will come on saying it's burnt, but that's not burnt, family, that's flavor. So we're just going to take our time and try to scrape all that up. I think we might need a little help. So this is the vegetable broth from those potatoes. This is our jalapeno hot sauce. I'm going to add about a tablespoon. That looks good. Mix that all together. I'm going to add a little bit of this broth. Just so we can scrape up the bottom of this pan. Perfect. Do you want to cook those onions for a little bit longer? Because we're going to puree all of this together once we remove the cooked beef. I'm going to give that about 10-15 minutes. All right, so the liquid is evaporating. Let's add a little bit more. I'm not trying to saute those onions. I just want to soften them up a bit. The smells coming from this Instant Pot, family, I wish you could be here. And it's simple ingredients. I'm going to call it right there. So it's been about 10 minutes. I turn the saute off. We're going to add our roast back in, along with any drippings. I'm going to add the broth and any of the garlic that's in here from those potatoes. Perfect. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to hit the meat stew button. For 35 minutes, it's going to build up pressure, cook for 35 minutes, and I want it to natural release. This is probably going to take anywhere between an hour to an hour and a half, so we have plenty of time before we have to work on the potatoes and the corn. So I'll bring you back when that is natural release. This morning I got up and I took the sourdough starter from the refrigerator so I can feed it and have bread, because I need to make bread tonight. So I put 100 grams of sourdough starter in this clean jar. I added 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of water. Mix that really well. Let it do its thing, and I need to make bread later tonight. But I have a lot of discard left over. We're gonna make some breadsticks, and this is a really easy breadsticks. All you need is sourdough discard and a hot cast iron skillet. So I have a standard size cast iron skillet in the oven warming up to 400 degrees. Let's go ahead and get this started so we can have some breadsticks, either to snack on, or if dinner is ready by then, we'll have it with dinner. But I got a feeling we're going to use it as a snack. First, I want to make a spice blend. I'm going to add about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, a small little pinch of pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning blend. Mix that really well together. Perfect. So I have a very hot cast iron skillet. I'm going to give it a good drizzle of olive oil. It's probably a good tablespoon. Swish that around. And we'll keep the pot holder right here to remind me it's hot and I don't grab it. So here's our sourdough discard. We're just going to pour it in here. Let's add our seasoned blend. And this is that leftover mozzarella cheese where we made freezer pizzas. I'm just going to sprinkle that right on top. Perfect. I knew we can find a way to use that mozzarella. No waste, family. I'm going to put this in a 400-degree oven. It's probably going to take anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes. We'll check on it after 10 minutes until it's nice and golden brown. I have the timer set for 10 minutes. I'll let you know how long that took. The sourdough discard breadsticks are ready. They actually took 15 minutes. We have 7 minutes left on the Instant Pot. I'm going to go ahead and put the large cast iron skillet in a 400-degree oven so that can warm up to receive the potatoes when we're ready to cook those. So let's get this sourdough discard breadsticks out of this pan. Look how pretty that is. I'm going to go ahead and cut it up into strips. And now we have a little kitchen snack while we're still cooking dinner. They're really sour because it's made with just sourdough discard, but they're really good. So we're waiting on the roast that's in the Instant Pot. We're waiting on that pan to heat up in the oven for those potatoes. I'll bring you back once that pan is nice and hot and that roast is almost ready to come out. The Instant Pot has turned off. I'm just letting it natural release at the moment, but we can go ahead and get our potatoes in the oven. So I have that large cast iron skillet in a 400-degree oven. It is hot, family, super, super hot. I'm gonna put a little bit of avocado oil. Swish that around a bit. And now we can add our drained canned potatoes. I want all that seasoning good. Yeah, there we go. Now we don't need to add any kind of seasoning because there was Italian seasoning and salt plus garlic and the vegetable broth canned with those potatoes. And I have some home grated Parmesan cheese. Just gonna sprinkle that right on top. The potatoes are cooked. We just want to put this back in the oven to get them heated through and have this cheese melt. That's really all we need to do. Back in the oven, probably about 30 minutes. And by the time the potatoes come out of the oven, the Instant Pot should have been natural release by then, and then we can move on and get this dinner on the table. So the timer to the roast went off. It natural released. I'm going to remove the roast. Make sure we keep all the onions and all the goodness in this pot. And I just want to take the stick blender and blend this all together. I'm going to try to remove the bones from this meat. Oh yeah, that is cooked perfect. Any of the fat we don't want. Just go ahead and remove all that. It's not a lot of fat on this beef, which is good. And we'll cut it up into bite-sized pieces. Put it back in our juice. So the potatoes with the Parmesan cheese, 30 minutes. Can you see the golden brown on that? Family, that looks so pretty. Oh, gorgeous. I don't need that much. We're not ready to eat yet. I just want to take a little sample while I still have you in the house. Here's some corn. All I did was open that Ziploc bag, a little bit of butter and salt and pepper and a little bit of water. And let that cook on low the whole time we were cooking those potatoes. Our roast with the pureed broth, onions, and garlic. Family, it's a high carb dinner, but that is okay. And I can't forget our sourdough discard breadsticks. Everything looks so good. We might actually have enough potatoes and roast for dinner tonight, lunch tomorrow, possibly dinner tomorrow night, which is good. I can have the evening off. Just store-bought corn on the cob that I caught on sale. Blanch those in some hot water. Put them in some cold ice water to shock it so it stopped cooking. Removed all the kernels and put it in Ziploc bags. Stuck those in the freezer. Perfect. Some of our home canned garlic, herbed, vegetable broth potatoes with some Parmesan cheese. Really good. Sourdough Discard breadsticks. Family, if you haven't tried that, you need to try that. Let's try a piece of roast. It is so tender. Oh, that is really good. So as soon as the husband is ready to eat dinner, we're going to sit down, have dinner together. I'll put everything in the refrigerator and we'll snack on it for the next 2 days. I can't wait to bring you back into the kitchen and we'll make another delicious meal. Before we start dinner this evening, I'm going to show you what I do when we have leftover pancakes and bacon. When I make pancakes, I always make enough to last 2 days. That way I don't have to cook breakfast tomorrow. So I have a little bit left of that half-pound bacon and I have 4 pancakes left. Really simple solution. So I have a piece of parchment paper. And I just put the pancakes doesn't matter if the outer two don't have parchment paper. I just want to make sure that they're not sitting on top of each other. And I put it in a quart size Ziploc bag. And as for the bacon, just goes right in here also. And now we have breakfast tomorrow. I'm just going to put this in the refrigerator for overnight, and tomorrow morning I'll take it out of the refrigerator. I'll open this bag and put it in the microwave for 30 seconds while the pancakes are still in this bag with the bacon. And if they're not hot enough, I'll take them off, put them on the plates, put a little bit of very, very slightly wet paper towels on top of them, and microwave it for another 30 minutes. The bacon I'll microwave with the pancakes, and now we have breakfast tomorrow. So what are we going to have for dinner tonight, family? So this is one of our whole cut up skin on bone in chicken. And then I took the mashed potato balls out of the freezer, let them thaw for a bit. We're just going to season this with some herbs and spices, and we're going to bake it in the oven. I have the large cast iron skillet I'm going to put in the oven at 375 degrees because I want the oven hot and I want that pan hot. Let me go ahead and take the chicken out of the bag and we'll get ready to season it. So I have a little ramekin. I'm going to add the spices and herbs. I am going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, a half a teaspoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. We're going to put in 3 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. Get that all mixed up really well. Perfect. I do want to pat dry this chicken. So that's a leg, another leg. Always cut the chicken breast in half so we actually have 4 small pieces of chicken breast instead of having 2 large pieces. And our thighs. And let's go ahead and start seasoning liberally amount of season on these chickens, on the chicken parts. I want to make sure the skin stays on the chicken when I'm cooking it. So, because we're going to cook it skin side down in that hot cast iron skillet. And then after about 30 minutes, we'll turn them skin side up and let it continue to cook until they're done. All the little bits and pieces of spices, using the chicken as a sponge. There we go. All right, let me wash my hands and get that hot skillet out of the oven. Now this is a 12-inch cast iron skillet. If you don't have a 12-inch cast iron skillet, just use several small ones. I'm not putting no oils or anything in here because when you're cooking chicken that still has bone and skin on it, it still has all of its fat. And the fat lives under the skin. And because we're cooking this skin side down, it's going to render that fat and it will give us a nice crisp. But first we're going to go ahead and put all the chicken in. So skin side down. I'm going to put the breast near the center. And this has no wings, by the way. When we cut up our own chickens, we save the wings separate and we'll have that as another meal. All right, so what do I have going on here? So I have the 4 pieces of chicken breast in the center. I have the 2 drumsticks on one side and the 2 thighs on the other side. The dark meat, the legs, needs to cook 175 degrees. Go ahead and put all those spices in there. And the white meat, such as the breast and the wings, needs to cook to 165 degrees. So I'll put this in the oven for 30 minutes and then we'll check on it, turn them, cook it additional. After we flip that chicken and continue to cook it, we're going to heat up our mashed potato balls. They're fully cooked mashed potatoes. When I have leftover mashed potatoes, I just put it on a plate in little mounds, stick them in the freezer, and then once they're frozen, I'll take them and put them in a Ziploc bag, keep them in the freezer until we're ready to eat them. I took this out this morning, it's sitting on the plate. We're going to heat that up in just a bit, and then we're going to make a simple creamy gravy, and that's what we're having for dinner. While we're waiting on the chicken in the oven in the first 30 minutes, I figure we go ahead and get started on an onion gravy. Yes, family, you heard me correctly. Onion gravy. So this is the other half of the onion we used yesterday. In that roast we put in the Instant Pot. I'm going to cut it up really small. I have this standard size skillet. I'm going to put it on medium heat, put a little bit of olive oil, add the onions. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt, and I want to cook that until they're almost translucent. Add some broth. Now you heard me say this many times. The husband is not a big fan of onions or garlic or other vegetables in gravy, but we want to make sure they're really soft so when we add the broth, we can puree it and he'll never know. Doesn't mind the flavor of those things, you just don't want to bite into one. This is probably going to take about 15 minutes to get these onions where I want them. And as for the chicken, oh, the smells that are coming from this oven, so delicious. I'm going to go ahead and put our potatoes in a saucepan and any kind of liquid that has melt it off of it. I'm not ready to put it on the stove yet, but we are one step closer. That has been 30 minutes. Let's give them a flip. And I'm gonna put it back in the oven for another 30 minutes. I did add a little bit more olive oil to our onions. So they're starting to get a beautiful color. So I put some Better Than bouillon. It's that paste that comes in a jar. I'll show you in a second. I put about a tablespoon of that in some water. This is a vegetable base. I don't have chicken stock yet, family. I'm going to turn the burner off real quick. We're going to add our broth. Now I'm going to puree this liquid. Hopefully I don't have to switch pans because I don't want to dirty another dish. But if we start getting splatter, we will. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to try that. Hang on a second, family. I'm going to pour it in a bowl. Make sure we get all of those onions. Now I'm going to puree this bowl. I'm going to pour it back in here. And I kind of wish I used the saucepan, but it's okay. I wash dishes 100 times a day. Turn that back on and put it on medium-low heat. I have some powder chicken broth. It's more of a flavoring. I am going to add 1 tablespoon. I don't know if we need a roux or even a slurry for that matter. And I have 1 cup of milk. I am going to let that cook and reduce a little bit. And if we do need to make a slurry, that's cornstarch and water. That will thicken it up. We can do that. If not, we'll be perfect. That's probably going to take as long as it takes to cook that chicken to reduce. Just come in here every now and then and give it a good scrape on the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and get these dishes washed. I like washing dishes while I'm cooking. So I don't have a sink full of dishes after dinner. I'm going to reduce the heat to low. Decided I'm going to go ahead and make a cornstarch slurry. So this has 1 tablespoon of cornstarch to about 3/4 to 1 tablespoon of water. Make sure that's all dissolved in there. There we go. And now I'm going to add it to our creamy gravy. The heat from this broth, it's going to thicken our gravy. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and turn the burner off and just let it sit here for a bit. As for the mashed potatoes, I'm going to turn that on a low, and I'm just going to let that heat up. And we have 12 more minutes on that chicken. We'll check the temperature. And once the potatoes are done and the chicken is done, dinner will be ready to go on the table and we can eat. Perfect. So that's the second 30 minutes on the chicken. We do want to take its temperature. Breast needs to be over 165. We're reading 167. Dark meat needs to be over 175. And we are over 200 on the thighs and 200 on the legs. Chicken is done. Let's go ahead and remove our chicken. Oh, family, it's so, I can't describe the smell. You can smell the garlic and the onions and all that Italian seasoning. It's beautiful. Now this stuff that's in this pan, I am not wasting that. I am going to take our gravy. I am going to dump it in here. I know, I could have made the gravy in this pan. And I want to start scraping and picking up all those bits. Incorporate that into our gravy. And before we go any further, I want to taste it for salt and pepper. Using that vegetable broth better than bouillon. This is the jar I'm talking about. This is what I add 1 tablespoon to a cup of water and made a broth. It has that umami flavor, that mouth feel good flavor. I don't know how to explain it, but it is so good. Perfect amount of salt. I'm going to dump that into a measuring cup. Hopefully, this pan is so heavy. Oh, and making a mess. This is a 3-hand job, this pan is. To scrape and hold the pan. Okay. Let's pick it up. Let me clean up my mess just a bit. And our mashed potatoes. So we have our creamy gravy, mashed potatoes, and I always have mashed potato balls in the freezer. So tomorrow, if I need to heat up some more, it's not going to be a problem. The chicken is going to be enough for dinner tonight, plus lunch tomorrow and dinner tomorrow night. So have you ever cut up your own whole chickens to make your own fryer parts? Or do you gravitate towards a boneless, skinless chicken part, such as breast or thighs? Do your family enjoy chicken thighs? And the reason I'm asking this, because in my area, we can always find whole chickens on sale periodically through the year. Whole chickens in my area run about $1.49 to $1.69 a pound. But when I can catch them on sale, I usually can get them for about 99 cents a pound. And I buy them in bulk. If I get them from Lidl's, they always have a 10-pound limit. And each whole chicken is a little bit less than 5 pounds. So I'm only able to get 2 chickens per visit. But I try to visit as often during that week, during that sale, and constantly picking up 2 chickens. And I cut them up myself into fryer parts. I'll do boneless, skinless chicken breasts or chicken thighs myself and save money. I'll separate the wings and put them in a whole different bag. That way I can have my own chicken wings without having to pay a premium price for chicken wings at the store. A pack of chicken wings usually runs about $2.99 to $3.99 a pound. And we can make our own chicken wings from the whole chickens, and we can get them for 99 cents a pound. Big savings when you do the prep yourself. And then when we cut up our chickens, we always save that backbone, and we save the wing tips Keep them in a freezer bag in the freezer. And when we need to make stock, which we do, we have the ingredients to make a homemade chicken stock. So we can have homemade, home canned chicken broth to be a pantry staple item on our shelf. But what is your favorite part of the chicken? Mine is actually thighs. Never thought I would say that. Back in my younger days, it was always boneless, skinless chicken breast, because when I was working full-time raising a family, I thought convenience was more important than cost. And it's not, family. Cost is more important than convenience. So I have a chicken thigh. I'm going to add a little bit of mashed potatoes and some of our delicious umami gravy. I'm going to put a little bit on my chicken also. Serve this with a vegetable of your choice. I've said it many times. I even said it a couple days ago. Vegetables is not the husband's favorite thing to have, so I don't bother. Let's try some chicken. This is a chicken thigh. I wish you were here to taste this chicken. Simple ingredients: salt and pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and Italian seasoning. But the flavor is 5-star restaurant quality. And that gravy, you get the hint of onions without biting into an onion. Mashed potatoes are leftover mashed potatoes from where we did, what did we make? I don't know, it was last week. I don't even remember what we made. But I just put them in the freezer and took them out this morning. Over the top. So when the husband gets home from work, we're going to sit down and have dinner, lunch, and hopefully dinner tomorrow night. We have a pack of parboiled wings still in the refrigerator. And we have frozen pizzas. I know we had pizzas earlier this week, but I think in 2 days when it's time to cook dinner again, we're going to have pizza and wings. And plus we already have breakfast tomorrow. Besides having to go to work, my normal part-time job, I am off in the kitchen. I am super happy. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this thigh, and I'll eat a little something when the husband gets here. The last meal we had this week, unfortunately, I did not record it. I came home from work. I took one of our frozen pizzas we had in the freezer. I know, pizza twice this week, but it's okay. Plus those wings we took out of the freezer at the beginning of this week. So for the wings, I took the homemade hot sauce, maybe 2 tablespoons, plus about 3 tablespoons of our homemade barbecue. Both of the videos of making homemade hot sauce and barbecue will be in the link below. Please go check those out. If you have a stocked pantry or even just basic ingredients, you can make your own barbecue sauce with just simple ingredients you have in the house. And the hot sauce, family, this is hot, but it is really, really good and full of flavor. I just mix these two together. 2 tablespoons of hot sauce, 3 tablespoons of barbecue sauce with a tablespoon of butter. Put it in the microwave and melt it, and I just painted that on the chicken wings and baked it right beside the pizza. It took about 25-30 minutes. Here's a picture of the husband and my plate with cheese pizza and wings that we had last night for dinner. So if you find any value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe. I will love to have you part of the Gravy family. In this kitchen, we try to have a stocked pantry and stocked freezer with protein that we can get on sale so we can shop our home to feed our family and not worry about going to the store and getting one of these or one of those. We watch the sales and we fill our freezer and our pantry. So when it's time to cook dinner, we have the things. Might not be the things we want to eat that night, but we have the things that we can cook. Now I need to go into the freezer and start pulling out things for this week, and I don't know what that's going to be until I get in there. So until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family. This hot sauce is good, and this barbecue sauce is probably the best I have ever had. Yes, I have a bay leaf in here. Where is... Oh, there it is. Why are you way down there? Why are you upside down? Waiting patiently for the ice machine to stop making noise.